fill that in. It's a weird title, but you like those, which is great.
There's an obscure little verse in Nehemiah where the bad guys are coming against Nehemiah, and they say, "We hear bad. You're doing a bunch of bad things," and Gashmu saith it.
Yeah.
We've heard dirt on you.
Yeah.
And Gashmu is the one who is our source. And so I love that phrase, Gashmu saith it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Contra Talk. My name is Richard Henry, and you can see my guest today. We're here at Fight Laugh Feast, Doug Wilson, Pastor Doug Wilson. Why don't you just briefly give a history, Pastor Doug, if you don't mind, of kind of what's gone on at Moscow, how long, like how you got up there, and just kind of the building. You got the press, the school, the college, of course, the church plants. So
this is a telescoped timeline, but my parents moved to Moscow in 1971. I graduated from high school. I helped them move there, and then a few months later, I went into the Navy. So I was in the Navy from 71 to 75 while my folks were putting roots down in Moscow. My dad was there to open up Christian literature missions, bookstores that were evangelistic, apologetic. So one at Washington State University, 8 miles away in Pullman, Washington, and the other in Moscow at the University of Idaho, which is why he moved there. There were 2 small towns with 2 universities, major universities in 2 small towns, 8 miles apart, which made it strategically significant. So, and everything that is going on in Moscow is downstream from that decision, because he wanted disproportionate influence. That was the name of the game. Then what happened was I got out of the Navy in 75. In the fall of 75, my dad had begun filling the pulpit for an E-Free church in Pullman that had lost their pastor. It had grown remarkably. A number of people from Moscow were going over there, so we hived off and planted a little Jesus People type church in 1975.
It's the 70s, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 70s. And I was a song leader. I was a student at the U of I at the time. And about a year and a half into that, we didn't affiliate with the E-Free denomination, not because of any doctrinal anything, but because it was the 70s.
Yeah.
And so we went on. A year and a half later, the man who was doing the preaching announced that he had gotten a job in another city and he was going to be gone the next week. And good luck, everybody. And so I was up
2
front.
week notice. Just 1 week.
1 week.
Yeah.
I was up front with the guitar, and so I preached the next Sunday, and that's how I wound up in the ministry. So I started preaching at what is now Christ Church in 1977.
Okay.
Then a few years later, we started Logos School for our oldest daughter, her kindergarten year. That was 80, 81.
Was that out of the church building, I guess, or
no? We
different
didn't
space?
have a church building. We rented the church basement from another church and started up. And Logos School gradually took root, grew. 19 students the first year, and then now this year it's like over 600 students.
Wow.
So in a town like Moscow, that's a significant presence.
How big is the population?
About 22,000 people.
Well,
so
I thought it was bigger than that. Okay.
All right, it's and it's the 10th or 11th largest town in Idaho.
Okay.
So
that's not saying a lot. Idaho's not very big.
We have a lot of trees.
Yeah.
We have a lot of trees. So then that was Becca's kindergarten year. After she graduated from high school, her freshman year of college, we opened New St. Andrews College.
Okay, that's right.
Right.
I remember.
So we started Logos. We started Logos for Becca and our other kids, and we started NSA for Becca and our other kids.
Yeah.
So that was the early 90s. And then Canon Press was started in 1988 or thereabouts.
Okay.
Magazine Credenda Agenda, which had a 20-year run, was late 80s. Those were the things that sort of gave us a national microphone, a national presence.
Yeah.
The books and then in 2004 I began blogging, and that has been sort of the next level. And we've added, so all of the things have accumulated slowly.
Okay, nice. And so you wrote Gashmu Saith It, which is,
yes.
Fill that in. It's a weird title, but you like those, which is great.
Yeah. There's an obscure little verse in Nehemiah where the bad guys are coming against Nehemiah, and they say, "We hear bad. You're doing a bunch of bad things," and Gashmu saith it.
Yeah. Like,
we've heard dirt on you.
Yeah.
And Gashmu is the one who is our source. And so I love that phrase, Gashmu saith it. And the subtitle is Building Christian Communities to Save the World, basically. How to build Christian community that embodies and instantiates what we call all of Christ for all of life.
Okay. And that's really, so is the book then kind of an elongation of what you just told me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're just kind of the details of going different stuff like that and moving through. Would you change anything or alter anything or maybe some commending words for somebody who's in random state USA and like, hey, we like this, we really want that. We might not line up everything, but Christ is King and we want to live for him. We want to impact the world. What would you suggest?
The thing that
step 1, 2, 3 sort of thing.
The thing that I would say is essential. There are all sorts of variations on a theme that different people could do in different places, but I would say worship is central.
Okay.
So whatever it is you're doing, you want worship to be the driving engine, and have everything else connected to the fact that your people are going into heaven once a week, worshiping the Lord there.
Okay.
And you're pouring a slab of concrete once a week, and everything you build that week, you want to go on that concrete. You want it to line up with the worship.
Okay. All right. No, that's good. I guess lastly, just kind of play devil's advocate for a moment. Weird phrase, but it makes sense why unbelievers don't like Christians, especially like you guys. You're out. You're this. Hey, we have a school. We have these things. Witnessing, preaching the word, lots of resources, and it's a small town, right? 22,000 people. But why I love the term Big Eva. I don't know who coined it. It was a Carl Truman, I think, somebody like that.
Yeah.
Why does Big Eva not like you, and what happens in Moscow?
Yeah.
You have any idea?
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
I have no idea.
So I would divide it into different categories.
Okay.
Like maybe 3 different categories. And we're talking about Christians here.
Yeah, right.
But even within the Christian world, there are people who are hostile to the project because they don't want the Word of God to be authoritative. The motives are bad. Mm-hmm. So they just don't want to have the Word of God be authoritative over everything they do. All right? And so they're true adversaries. They don't like
even though they're professing Christians.
Even though they're professing Christians. Okay. You guys aren't loving like Jesus,
Right.
Then there are people who, well-meaning Christian pastors, who's had one too many fanboy of Doug Wilson come up to him after a sermon saying, well, that's not what Doug Wilson says. And right. And so he's been taught to hate the sound of my name. But he's a good guy. He loves the Lord. His family's in order. But he's heard things on the internet. He's got an obnoxious fan of mine or two in his congregation.
An idol worshiper.
He's got reasons for his prejudice.
Yeah.
It's not. He didn't make up his prejudice out of whole cloth.
Yeah.
Right. So he. That's the second category. The third category, I would say, is Christians who like what I do. They like reading what I write. They're encouraged by it. But if they know that if they poke their head out, they're going to be in as much trouble as I am.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And they've got an elder board, or they've got a mortgage to pay, or they've got a school board. I can't tell you how many times I've had people distance themselves from me when I know that they appreciate and like what I'm doing.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the cost is just too high.
Mm-hmm.
So some people are just against what I'm doing. Some people have misunderstandings of what I'm doing because of fanboys or some slander on the internet that affected them or whatever. But they're good people. They just believe something they shouldn't believe. And then there are people who know that I'm not a racist. They know that I don't defend sexual predators. They know all this stuff is false. But they also know that if they say, yeah, I like Wilson, then they're going to get attacked the same way Wilson is currently getting attacked. And so it's just kind of risky.
Yeah.
Why did Nicodemus visit Jesus by night?
Yeah.
Well, he had something to protect.
Yeah, likely so. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Well, do you have anything else you want to add for the audience?
That's
Any encouragement,
no.
other encouraging words?
Be good, don't be bad.
Be a good Christian, obey Christ. That's right. Well, I appreciate it, Pastor Doug. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good rest of your day. Check out Canon Press. You guys have the app, of course.
Yeah.
That monthly subscription where all the audiobooks, everything.
There's so much content there. It's ridiculous.
I love your comment. He was, one of your poetic ways of saying it. He said, and there'll be, what'd you say? And there'll be servers in the catacombs. So I forget where it was, but you're talking about like when you cancel and everything. And really, I think that's something I'm thankful for. Even if we don't, I'm a pastor at SBC Church, so I'm Baptist, but there's a lot of problems in the SBC, and I love it. I'm actually friends with Eric Smith, who did the bald guy with the presentation, and we were both at the SBC this year, and the plagiarism. It's so many. It's a whole other topic, but I'm thankful, very, very deeply thankful, and I've got a whole community of other content creators and podcasters that are very thankful for your work, and like Toby's and Jared's, and just the hey, Christ is king, and we need to do this. People are getting canceled, but we need to hedge our bets, and so again, thank you for the time. So
all right, see ya.